Welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch. This is your host, Utre Approach. So we're in the classroom, and we learned about kind of what happened to Dawn's husband. And I'm not really sure about Dawn, but she wrote a book, and I'm guessing she was a teacher. So, and this space doesn't really look that old, but Odin Finch. Okay, here's some stuff we can learn too. Wow, there's the curse of the house, the myth, the real history. Okay, well, let's continue on. I know there's a way to go up there, but wow, that wind is super loud.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
I wonder what that is on the ground. It could either be paint or blood. But there's footprints there also. There's like yellow footprints. Wow. Alright, we'll go ahead and go in through the window.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Yeah, that just looks like spilled paint. Alright, Milton, let's find out what happened to you.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. was 4 when Milton disappeared.
So all we learned from that is that he painted himself a door and walked right through it in 2003. So if she was 4 in 2003, let's see, 1999, and she was 4 in 2003. If it was 2010 at the time of this game, 2010, then she would be like 10 years old, a little bit older. Huh. I think she's like 14 or 15 at the time of this game, though. So let's keep on moving through. That was a really short story. I hope we actually find out more about what happened to Milton.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
I almost wouldn't even want to come back to the house if I was her, if it's really cursed. I mean, it's just so strange, but maybe it just pulled her back. It seems like it just has it's like a huge magnet that pulls people in. Sometimes pulls people in forever.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
You'd like this game, Mom.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room, except Lewis.
Looks like Lewis is a pretty cool dude. A hookah, a pot poster, some black lights going on. Yeah. Wonder what happened to him. That would be awesome to sit in. Just sit out on this boat and just look out. It is a really beautiful house though, and I think it would be great to live in. As long as you didn't get sucked into it. Man. But
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on. Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Alright, let's find out what happened to Lewis.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
Is it gonna make me chop my hand off? Because, well, hopefully. Okay, wait, maybe not. What's this going on? Okay. So I have to do that and that.
I asked him to describe it.
So I gotta do both at the same time?
He said he started small. Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that had not names. He knew it was all in his head. He took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
So I'm having to control the fish and play this little side game at the same time.
But he found something more.
Oh wow.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery.
This is a great visual for daydreaming. This is exactly what it's like.
He said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
I actually know exactly how this is. I worked in a factory
like a whole new
like myself,
Lewis.
just like this. Doing the same thing
So I let him
over
go
and
on.
over.
even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
So his daydreams kind of taken over.
He told me he'd made a new friend.
Oh, look, a dog.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band.
This is a vivid imagination.
He was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
This is so real.
New Louisville.
This is just like it is working in a factory. Because I'm imagining doing something and I'm working at the same time. Daydreaming. Chopping fish
He
and
started drifting away from our reality.
daydreaming. Oh. Probably until I chop my hand off.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
This is so crazy.
The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents.
So I'm creating my own story as I go along. That's so cool.
He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
This
He
is
knew
so
the world was
cool.
all in his imagination.
This is so crazy.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Well, looks like I'm back in the cannery now. But wow, just thinking about that, I've yet to play a game with that quality of visualization. Because just knowing how that is to daydream on a job, and just seeing how they portrayed that in such a way, it was really really magnificent. I really want to see who decided to create that. It's really amazing. I just had to say that.
We began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Alright, so what do you guys think is going to happen? I think he's either going to murder somebody, or he's going to go missing, or he's going to die in the factory. And I'm just going by the past things that have happened in the game so far. But hopefully it turns out alright for Lewis. We'll see.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
So that's Lewis right there. So I'm not sure what this is, who this is walking, but alright, it looks like I'm going on up. Okay, so I'm looking in the shadow, and it looks like the hair of the king that he was visualizing himself to be. So that's what I'm taking as who this is walking.
I still thought I could save him. even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Yep, definitely the king now.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
What?
And the rest I think you know. Mrs.
Yeah.
Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's terrible.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
I wish so too, Edith. I really do.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Alright. I'm going to cut it here. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. This is the Outre approach. Please subscribe and click the notification bell or leave a comment if you like. See ya.